I tried out Alex Hormozi Strategy and I literally doubled my business within 30 days just from applying some of the things that he said and also adding my own twist on a couple of the things that he said. So I can't wait to show you guys. Now, the reason you're not seeing anything on the whiteboard yet is because I got to give you context before I show you guys the results and the before results. I have a multitude of different companies, and one of which is a service-based company. Now, within this service-based company, we have a multitude of different price ranges on products that help service people. Now, what I was struggling with was, how do I get more people and how do I sell more people? How do we get more results? And I was just struggling all those months because I was like, yo, I don't know anything about this. It's something new to me. We haven't been in this space too long. But after watching one of Alex Hormozi's videos on how he doubled a business, I think in 60 days or something like that, I watched the whole thing like 3 different times. I tried out everything that he said. It didn't happen overnight. If anything, our results dropped for the first 3 to 4 days, but then it really started picking up. So let me show you guys exactly where we were at when we first started this strategy and where we were after it. Back in September, this video that he dropped, I think was since sometime in October. So I'll show you guys the before results of how we did the month before. So I'm gonna actually just write this on the board. That way you guys don't have to stick around and watch. So I'll be right back. All right, and now we're back. So with that being said, back in September when we first started really looking at how we can get more results. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, we weren't actually tracking KPIs super heavy, which is key performance indicators. If anything, they were all unorganized. So we didn't know how many people were booking calls. We didn't know our show up rate. We didn't know our close rate. We didn't know how many units we were selling. Well, obviously we knew this, but we didn't know our cash collected. And it was just very unorganized. And after watching a couple different other videos from Alex Hormozi, I realized even after reading his book, you literally can't increase what you don't track. So I started to put all the different tracking metrics that I could inside of my business, and it has helped a lot because now we're able to spot where we can actually improve at. So in September, our price for one of our services was $3,500. Now at this price, I was a lot cheaper than my competition, and it was because I thought that the price just needs to be cheaper for my niche and my audience, when in reality that wasn't 100% the case. Now in September, our show up rate was 38%. Now if you guys don't know what a show up rate, Alex explains it in the video, but I'll explain it as well. It's basically how many people actually showed up to the calls that they had booked. Now, our close rate as well, out of the people who showed up to these calls, how many actually took us up on that offer, was 13.5%, which was nowhere near where I wanted to be, and it was a lot less than the industry average that I had seen. Now, as far as the units sold, we had only sold 15 in the entire month of September, and in September, we had 290 book calls. 290 book calls, and we only sold 15 people out of those 290 calls. So basically what cash collected is basically how much of the package that you actually got a full amount. So basically if the package is $3,500 and our cash collected is only 50%, that means we only collected 50% of that, and then the rest went on a payment plan or some type of payment structure. Now within this service-based company that I was building, I really didn't know too much about how to scale something like this because all I had ever done was really just e-com, clothing brands, do-rags, building my Discord community, and there was just so many different things that I really didn't know about this business model that I had to go out there and learn from someone else like Alex. Now, with all of that being said, this was our overall numbers before we actually started implementing anything that he talked about in his video. Now, before I show you guys the end results, which is what happened in October, which is 30 days later, I'm gonna actually show you guys the things that we implemented from the video that he talked about. So I'm gonna write those down on the whiteboard right now, and you guys will be able to see it when I'm done. Now, the first thing that we ended up adding was a KPI sheet. Now, within the KPI sheet, we kept track of not only the total amount of calls that we were having, how many people were showing up, our offer rate, how many of these people were closed, how much money we collected. All of those different things were things that we started to track on this sheet. That was not something that we were really doing prior in September very well at all. So we actually ended up going back in the previous months where we weren't tracking it at all. And then we started adding in the additional information that was needed to see where we could improve at. So after adding in our KPI sheet, we noticed a huge lump sum of information and data about our business. We noticed that we could be doing a lot of things better, and we actually needed to implement another strategy that Alex talked about, which was actually hiring in other people and delegating a lot of the things that we were doing internally within my team. So the second thing that we ended up adding was hiring 5 new people. Now, the reason we ended up hiring 5 new people is because we had previously fired 6 people. And the reason we actually did that is because we looked at the the actual value that we were getting from them and how they were actually doing at their job. So we created a report card of each and every individual as far as their work ethic, response rates, and all of those different things and key components we want to look at for our employees. So we noticed a lot of these people couldn't actually meet the expectations that we had within my company. So we had to cut them off, and that was a lot of extra fat within the business, but we also cut down a lot in costs because we were paying them more and we weren't really paying attention to what they were doing. So then we hired 5 new people, and amongst those people that we fired, it was basically a couple of different closers, a couple of VAs, and another person who was a little bit higher up in the company. And then we replaced them with 2 new closers. We added 2 new VAs, and then I'll tell you guys the roles that they ended up playing. Okay, so I'm gonna write them down right now and then kind of go into what each and every one of them did. Now, as far as the people that we ended up hiring, one was a lead specialist. So every single person who was actually reaching out and booking calls, we have to make sure that we not only set in automation, so I'll just add in AI on here as well, but we also had to make sure that there was a point of contact that somebody could actually ask questions to. Now, this helped a lot because a lot of the people who ended up booking calls immediately started getting automations from within our Calendly booking app. But on top of that, they had somebody reach out to them saying, hey, we want to make sure that you're okay with the, the time that you have set for your event. I'm going to be the person you can contact. So if you ever need any help or anything, then, you can reach out to me. Now, on top of this person also made the introduction to our advisors, which is also our closers, which made it a lot easier for people to actually show up for the calls, which has helped us a lot with getting our show up rate up. Now, the next person we ended up hiring was a setter, somebody who can be inside of the company's messages and emails to actually get people on these calls and actually get them, to even see the calls in itself. So with that being said, we added in setters, and then as far as our closers, we set new scripts and new expectations as far as goals for each and every one of our closers. What we noticed is that before we weren't monitoring everything that was going on with our closers, which is why a lot of them were not performing the way that they should have been performing. And with us hiring in new people, we had to start from the bottom up and rebuild. And to be honest with you, it's probably one of the harder things to retrain a whole new group of people after, you've had other people in your business and they've been there for a while. But again, you have to cut the fat off to really see growth. That's what we ended up doing. We added in new closers, we set new expectations, and we retrained them on how to overcome objections and how to close better. And on top of that, we just really made sure we hired the right type of people for the business itself. Now, the last thing that we ended up hiring was an operator, a person who knew a lot about operations that I may not have known. And as soon as they came into the business, they seen a bunch of stuff that was just kind of super unorganized and was like, yo, you need to do X, Y, and Z, 1, 2, 3, ABC. And once you do it, you'll start seeing a lot more things be automated and a lot less stress. So once we ended up doing that, this whole thing increased our close rate. And on top of it, it increased our show up rate as well, which increases the total amount of units sold. Now, the next thing that we ended up adding, which is number 3, surveys. So we started having surveys created utilizing SurveyMonkey, where we can actually survey our audience, whoever bought anything from us, on our performance. How was our closers? How was your communication with them? How were they? Were they on time? And all these different questions for the closers. Then we had a survey just for onboarding. Was the onboarding process easy? And what we noticed is as we had more surveys, now we were able to get feedback on how to improve, which will lead us to number 4. So in number 4, we just had to make everything 10 times better. If the whole service as a whole wasn't as best that it could be, well, this is why we're going to be losing to the competition in this service-based company. So with that being said, we ended up making everything better. The offer, we made it 10 times better. The people we hired, we made it 10 times better. And all came from actually having surveys and getting honest feedback from the people that we were trying to get to buy our items. And the reason this is important is because if we can find all the things that they didn't like, then in the future, the people who came in who are new won't know anything about the things that they didn't like, and the overall experience will continue to go up. But more importantly, now I have data to track and show to other people on how our actual services are and the overall process of, our company as a whole, which makes it a little bit easier for my closers to have something else to stand on as far as proof and authenticity to get people to sign up for our services. Now, the next thing that we ended up adding was lead magnets. Now, if you guys have read Alex Hormozi's book, if you haven't, I highly recommend you read it. But one of the things he talks about is having more lead magnets. So we started giving away everything for free that was extremely valuable to our audience with the hopes that they would somehow find a way to actually jump into our service after signing up for the lead magnet. So basically, I'll show you guys like an overview of how it went. So basically what we ended up having was a free lead magnet for the individuals that we wanted to actually sell our service to. We had a free lead magnet that got a ton of people to actually start signing up. But what we did is we took this and put it on steroids and added 3 other lead magnets that were extremely valuable that most of our competitors would never offer because they just wouldn't do something like that. Now, the next thing that we ended up doing is after they got the free lead magnet, they were able to see a video on what type of service that we actually offered and why we were so good, and a bunch of just different testimonials and results from the company itself. Now, after that, they had the ability to book a call as well. So once they seen that this was something that they were interested in, they could book a call. Now, the problem is all the people who actually signed up for this and never get to this page, or the people who signed up to book a call but aren't qualified to jump on the call with our team, those people were just lost leads at that point, and we didn't want to just keep losing those people. So what we did is we set in automations. So if the people who got here, who signed up for this and didn't qualify here, or just didn't want to sign up at all or fill out our form, we ended up sending them a 7-day free trial of the service itself and all the different value, which is completely different in another company that I own. So I basically segued 2 different companies into one format of lead magnets and, you know, having our book calls, but I incorporated another company, which allowed us to increase the amount of volume that we were having seeing on this company by 3 times. So not only was I doubling my overall business, the first one, but now I was able to triple the awareness of this one and get even more people to sign up for our free trial. And after looking at our data, we had around a 30% rate of people staying afterwards, which is really, really dope, because that means I can offer as many free trials as possible. And at the end of the day, as long as I get 100 people to sign up, on average, I'll probably get around 25 to 30 of those people to keep paying monthly afterwards, which increases the value on this company. And to be honest with you guys, I had this company valued recently and it came out very well. I'm not going to tell you guys which company it is, and I'm not going to tell you guys how much, because people be pocket watching, but nonetheless, just know that we had this one valued, and my goal is to 10x it. And to 10x it, I have to get more volume, more subscriptions, and more people to actually love our service and promote it on our behalf. So these are just a couple of the things that we ended up adding in. And I truly believe once you guys start adding this stuff in to your company and to your service-based company, whatever it is, if you have closers and a team, I feel like after offering and actually setting these things up, I'm telling you, it works. These are all things that I learned from Alex Hormozi. And to be honest with you guys, the only thing that I haven't done yet is hired a sales manager. And I will say that's really just it. And I will say the other thing as well, the form when it came to booking a call was more strict. So one thing that I took from his video as well is that I would rather have less people booking a call who are very qualified than more people who are booking a call who aren't qualified. And this is another thing that drastically improved our business as a whole, which improved our close rate, because now we weren't having our closers get burned out by talking to people who never had the money to sign up for the service or the interest to sign up for the service. Now, without further ado, now that I explained all of these different things, I'm now going to show you guys the October results. But if you haven't already, make sure you guys leave a subscribe and make sure you guys comment down below the best part about this. And if you like Alex Hormozi, let me know what other videos you guys have watched that has helped you as well. So now let's go ahead and jump onto the October results. Now, as you guys can see, just to reiterate what happened in September before I show you October, we were at a 3.5K service and program price for that specific offer. Our show up rate was a 38%. Our close rate was a 13.5%. We sold 15 units in the entire month of September, which was very low. And then our cash collected was a 50%. Now, let me show you guys the October results, which I think you guys are gonna love a ton. Now, as you guys can see, here is the end results. So not only did we go up in price from 3.5K to 5K, we also made the overall service 10 times better. I'm talking, we hired more people to make it better. We automated more things for the users. And we also built an entire community that our operator built to make everything more streamlined and automated for the individuals who wanted to work with us. Now, here's the end results. Not only did we go up in price, but our show up rate went up from a 38% to a 58%, which is a 20% increase, which is insane. Us also adding in more lead magnets naturally did bring in more book calls, but at the end of the day, to see a 20% increase in your show up rate, it's huge for any business, because if you have more opportunities to close people, then you'll have more chances of closing at a higher amount. Now, our close rate went from a 13.5% to a 23%, which is a lot closer to our goal of 35%. This is around a 10% increase, which is drastic over a month to month as well. A total units sold, we went from 15 to 45 units sold in October, which is crazy. And we really started implementing this at the end of October. So October 20th to October 31st, we ended up generating, I would probably say, a little bit less than half of these overall units sold after we started implementing a lot of the things that he said. A lot of other stuff I got from his book, so I implemented those in the beginning of October. So if you haven't got his book, make sure you guys go do so. I'm not an affiliate, but Alex, if you watch this, I'm not gonna say nothing, right? And then cash collected, we went from a 50% to a 56%, which we're still working on. So these are all things that we implemented within a 30-day time period. It's drastically changed my business. But on top of that, our subscriptions have gone through the roof for the other company. So it's increasing the value of the other company. It's increasing how many sales we have right here, or increasing the overall perception by increasing the price and the value of it as a whole, and the whole automation process and the hiring process as well. So we just made everything 10 times better, to be honest with you guys. And we stuck with it. It's only been about 30 days now. And I'm just gonna let you guys know, in November, we are already halfway at this goal that we are here right now at. It's kind of crazy to see how much things can change once you implement from a person who's actually done it. If you haven't gotten any of his books, I'm not an affiliate, but I think you should go grab them. And if you wanna watch the video that I watch, make sure you guys go ahead and click the link down below in the description, and make sure you guys leave a subscribe. And if you like videos like this, where we talk more about service-based businesses and how we've been able to increase our overall capital and revenue through growing these businesses, let me know now. With that being said, it's your boy Dantes Akram. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.